Miss Vastavikta welcomes you to Sunbeam Convent School. Today we are going to read silk weaving. So weaving is the process of creating a fabric by interlacing the wrap and weft yarns. It is carried out in looms. Now the process comes of creating a fabric. So a fabric is created by interlacing the wrap and weft yarns. The pattern that is used to make a cloth, that is interlacing the wrap and weft yarn. So it is carried out in looms. Two processes are involved in weaving: wrapping and pirning. Wrapping means preparing the yarn lengthwise by rolling on a beam, and pirn means the weft crosswise yarn are put on a pirn which is then placed inside the shuttle in order to lay the weft yarn between the wrap yarn. So silk weaving, how it is done? The normal the pattern that you see in clothes, the long yarn lengthwise rolling on a beam is called wrapping. So preparing the yarn lengthwise is called wrapping, and making a pattern in order to make it a fabric shuttle, it is placed inside the shuttle, it is called pirn. Okay. So it is placed inside the shuttle to lay the weft yarn between the wrap yarns. So now finishing. After the fabric has been prepared, the terms come for finishing. All fabric have to be finished because finishing gives a sign. So after finishing, the fabric gets its sign. If the fabrics are not finished, then it is not that finished. The finishing here means giving sign, adding sign to fabric. Finishing gives a fabric the desired appearance and feel. It adds sign, it adds luster, it gives the desired appearance that we desire, and it gives the feel, that means the softness, the touch, it gives, the finishing gives. There are several finishing processes such as physical and chemical. So finishing can be done physically or chemically. Finishing includes treatment such as crease proofing, waterproofing, fireproofing, etc. In finishing, treatment such as crease proofing, that means no ironing required, and waterproofing and fireproofing, etc. are also done. So let us read the fact file. It will give us some happiness that India is the second largest producer of silk after China, and the largest consumer of silk in the world also. Okay, after second largest producer of silk after China, and largest consumer of silk in world. As per 2001 to 2002 records, India produced 17,500 meters of silk. The types of silk fabrics. There are countless varieties of silk moths, but only 4 main types of natural silk are commercially valuable. So, mulberry silk, tassar silk. It is produced by the silkworm, which mainly grows on the plant asan and arjun. It is reared on the trees in the open. It is coppery colored coarse silk used as a dress material and for furnishing. Okay, tassar silk. It is produced by silkworm that grows on plant asan and arjun. Okay, it grows on asan and arjun, and these silkworms are reared in open on trees. That gives us tassar silk. So the color of the silk is copperas, and it is coarse silk. It is not very fine, it is coarse silk, and it is used as dress material and for furnishing also. Now muga silk. It is a golden yellow colored silk that is produced in Assam. It is obtained from silkworm which feeds on aromatic leaves of som and saol plants. Okay, so muga silk is of golden yellow color and it is produced in Assam. And this silkworm that produces muga silk feeds on aromatic leaves, that means the leaves that has fragrance. And aromatic leaves, which leaves has fragrance? Leaves of somu and shaolu. These have fragrance, and this silkworm feeds on that leaf. Eri silk. This is also obtained from the silkworm that feeds mainly on castor leaves. The eri cocoons are open-mouthed. Okay, so these are the types of silk that is commercially valuable and culturally acceptable. That means many people use it. In India, mulberry silk is produced in many states such as Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Jammu and Kashmir, and West Bengal. Okay, this mulberry silk is mainly produced in India. The silkworm that feeds on mulberry leaves, they produce the silk obtained from them is called mulberry silk, and they are produced in states such as Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Jammu and Kashmir, and West Bengal. The other type of silk are produced in Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, and northeastern states. Okay, so these are the four main types of natural silks that are commercially valuable: mulberry silk, tassar silk, muga silk, and eri silk. Okay, tassar silk are produced by the silkworm that grow on the plants of asan and arjun, and it is coppery yellow coarse silk. Okay, muga silk is golden yellow colored silk that is produced in Assam, and the silkworm feeds on aromatic leaves of som and saulu. Eri silk is obtained from the silkworm that feeds on castor leaves, and the silkworms are open and the cocoon are open-mouthed. And mulberry silk is mainly produced in India, that is Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Jammu Kashmir, and West Bengal. Now let us test our knowledge. What is silk fiber made from? So silk fiber is made from the protein that is secreted by the silkworm from its salivary gland that is placed on its head. In which country the production of silk originated? So in China. The production of silk originated in China. Define sericulture. The process of rearing the silkworm for silk is called sericulture. Distinguish tassar silk and muga silk. So in tassar silk, silkworm grows on the plants arjun and asan, but in muga silk, silkworms feed on the aromatic leaves of som and saulu. Tassar silk are reared in open, and these are coppery colored coarse silk, but muga silk are golden yellow colored silk. So these are the difference between tassar and muga silk. Now let us discuss about occupational hazards of silk industry. So workers who process raw silk are exposed to fine dust derived from the gum that binds the strands secreted by silkworm. Okay, so workers are exposed to the gum that binds the strands secreted by silkworm, and that gum leads to respiratory disease. Okay, they often suffer from respiratory disease such as occupational asthma, bronchitis, etc. These are respiratory disease. That means it is the disease of our respiratory system, and it creates some breathing problems such as asthma and bronchitis. Since the workers have to dip their hand in boiling water to kill pupa, they suffer from blister and injuries. Okay, so as I said earlier, it is necessary to kill the pupa, otherwise it will be converted into moth and it will itself break the cocoon and come out. But we have to stop this, because if they break the cocoon by themselves, then our cocoon will be of no use, because the fiber will be spoiled and it will also loosen up. So it is necessary to kill them. And how they are killed? They are killed by dipping them in boiling water. So workers have to dip their hand also in boiling water to kill the pupa, and in that process they suffer from blisters and injuries. They are also exposed to fumes of diesel from machines used for reeling and streaming. So for reeling, for uncovering the cocoon, for taking out the fiber, then a machine is used and they are also exposed to the fumes of diesel, and this also leads to disease. Symptoms of carbon monoxide toxicity have also been reported in Japan, okay, where sericulture is common home industry. So sericulture is common home industry in Japan. There people in their home, they set up an industry similar to cottage industry, and there symptoms of carbon monoxide toxicity have been reported. As a result of the use of charcoal fires in poorly ventilated rearing rooms, workers complain of headache, vertigo, and sometimes nausea and vomiting. Okay, because of poorly ventilated rearing rooms. The room should be well ventilated so that the unwanted toxic air or the carbon monoxide or any type of impurities they may out of the room. But because of poorly ventilated rearing rooms, workers complain of headache, vertigo, sometimes nausea and vomiting. Due to continuous standing for about 12 to 16 hours a day to see the reeling of silk, they develop backaches and spine problems. These are the occupational hazards of silk industry. So what are the safety and health measures? So lot of safety and health measures needed to be taken for the workers of silk industry due to growing reports of health hazards. So what are the safety and healthy measures? So control of temperature, humidity and ventilation are important factors in silk industry. There should be, the temperature should be in control, the humidity should be controlled and ventilation should be proper. So these are the important factors in silk industry. Kerosene or charcoal stoves used to boil water should be replaced by electric heaters or other warming devices so that they may not get blisters and injuries. And adequate ventilation of rearing room should be ensured. In order to prevent skin disease, lower the temperature of reeling baths can be effective. The water should be replaced frequently. Installation of exhaust ventilation is desirable. Exhaust ventilation, that means exhaust fan that is used in our kitchen. What does it do? It expels the air from our rooms. Exhaust ventilation is desirable. Direct skin contact with raw silk immersed in reeling bath should be avoided as far as possible because it will lead to injury and blisters. Appropriate lighting is required for yarn preparation and weaving process, otherwise their eye may also be damaged. Constant supervision may prevent accidents. So this is the very important work, constant supervision. That means looking after each and every safety measures. With this, your chapters come to an end. Here some keywords are given. You can go through it. You can go through the whole chapter twice and thrice and try to understand each and every topics very clearly.